Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Disco Elysium. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today as we look for the Lady Lorry Driver. I was gonna get my L's mixed up there, because Lady Lorry I have trouble with that sentence, or word, or name. I'm thinking it may be this gardener. Or maybe it isn't.
Hello again, officer. How are things?
It isn't. It isn't this gardener. I think in this game, the names of the characters are given by an omniscient narrator. And if the narrator says they're a gardener, then they're a gardener. If the narrator says they're racist, like that guy over there, then they are. And I think there was an old lady over here. And wasn't she high? Wasn't she, I remember something about her. So if she's the one that's selling drugs, like we found out last episode when we talked to, I forget his name. Yeah, if she's the one that's selling drugs, maybe she's high on her own stash? I'm not really sure how the expression goes. The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands. In the background, the radio plays. I'm gonna snap my fingers in front of her face, which is... yeah, but I'm sure she's not going to take offense to any of that. She's high, after all, I think.
If you want her attention, you may need to be more forceful.
Well, I'm going to snap my fingers twice. That's not quite what being more forceful here means. Normally it would be like shaking her about a bit, but I just snap my fingers twice.
Where am I? Who are you?
Like a magician recalling a subject from hypnosis, you have jolted her back to reality. And she's very quiet as well. I'll bring the volume up to there. Let's see what she has to say. Nope, she doesn't. Our empathy here, the smile on her face has disappeared, replaced by the wary aspect of a cornered beast. Oh, aspect as in not aspect, as in looks or wary appearance. Aspect? I don't think aspect means appearance in English. Maybe it does. And if it does, that's what it means there. And not just sort of like an essence or ethereal... well, it might mean that. I was actually hoping you could tell me that.
Never mind. I remember now. I'm still stuck in the traffic jam. In the 50s.
Is that an Italian accent or is that a Spanish accent? She adds the last bit, with contempt. Oh, yeah, the voice actress is... reading the lines rather than acting the lines. That did not come across. That did not come across as what she meant to say. She meant to say that, oh no, I'm still stuck in this traffic jam. You know what I mean? And yeah, so the 50s are our current ones, and she's not stuck in the 50s because she was high. She's stuck here. But where else would you be then? Actually, wait, what's so bad about the 50s?
The men have small jaws, and everything is made out of plastic. Why do you need plastic when you can make the world out of amber?
That's a Spanish accent, almost for sure. Every thorn is not a... I think she mispronounced the word. But I'm pretty sure that's a Spanish. Where else would you be? Oh no, rather, when else would you be then?
Back in Mefke, during the time of the revolution, the sidewalks and coffees are filled with young people. I was on my way to see a new Boy Adaro picture starring Gabriel Buenguerro. Until you come along, that is.
The look she gives you is accusatory. Who's Gabriel Buenguerro? Actually, did she pronounce it R or... I was still thinking of the way she... until. She said until, which is a Spanish sound. Portuguese as well. And that's not how that word is pronounced, but that's the accent there. I think she pronounced it with a dr sound, because that's how the rules work. R is a funny, in Portuguese, in both Portuguese and Spanish, the R letter is kind of funny, because it doesn't roll always. If it's two R's, then you roll the R. You just go with Buenguerro or Buenguerro. But then if it's a single R in Spanish, it has a different sound, and Portuguese has another one, which is more akin to the for Portuguese. And actually, I don't know how Spanish says. She must be pronouncing it in all the letters, but we'll see. Who's this Gabriel?
This is Gabriela Buenguerro.
There it is. That's the rolling. She shows you the photograph in the lavish amber frame. Also, yeah, about everything made of plastic. That's actually maybe not 50s in 1950s sense. Maybe 60s sort of fed up. Plastic is kind of funny, me being a child of the 80s, and not having grown up in the 50s naturally. But it's kind of funny looking back at the advertisement of things made of plastic. Back in the 50s, when plastic started to come into public knowledge and production of things, plastic was seen as the material of the future because it didn't break, and it was just, you could color it in however you wanted it. Although I'm pretty sure transparent plastic wasn't a thing at the beginning. So you see like these really gaudy and just sort of cheap looking like not cutlery, what's the word, like, you know, dishes and cups and whatnot being sold for extreme prices because they were really expensive to make, mind you. I imagine how bad they would smell, because plastic has smell. It depends on the type of plastic it is, but it has smell. I imagine what kind of anyway, you could see these being advertised for really big prices back then. And I'm saying this, it's mostly American advertisements because that's where it came from, as far as I know, anyway. And of course, so after a while, just because it was so mass-produced, it started being associated with just cheapness, and so, you know, things kind of went back to normal. But plastic was seen as the thing of the future. I don't know if there's subtext in that regard in her particular obsession with everything made out of plastic. I'm pretty sure it's not about how plastic is impossible to disassemble and is polluting everything in the world. I don't think this game has necessarily well, at least so far we haven't seen any sort of environmental themes, I suppose. It's not that the characters are just let's pollute everything. It's just that, you know, that's not what the game is about. It's about the strike and the races and all that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna take a look at this Gabriel Buenguero. A strikingly handsome man looks straight at you, his head crowned with a wide brim hat. His hair is dark as an oil slick, and his jaw the most perfectly chiseled thing you've ever seen. This man's got a hold over her. Our suggestion notes, even 50 years later, you can feel it. Wait, what do you mean 50 years later? I don't know anything. What is she? I don't know anything. My character does, but I don't.
It was the biggest star of his day. Girls used to faint in the aisles of the cinema whenever he came on the screen, and schoolboys used to memorize all his lines.
See, the thing that I was mentioning about Kim's accent before, memorai, she doesn't say the last word, because that's how Spanish, last syllable. No, actually, it wouldn't be a syllable in English, because memorize is mem, o, rise. Yeah, that's the 3-syllable word, I think. In Spanish, the syllables are not separated like that. It would be memorize. And that's why it's kind of difficult to speak English for Spanish speakers, and for Portuguese as well, though our accents are a little bit different, and it's a little bit easier for us to not do this, memorai, and the star instead of the start. Actually, that wasn't the start, that was the biggest star of his day. She leans back, savoring the world she's conjured up. She's I assume conjured up as in her memory, she's not making it up. She's speaking true here. So I think we are not in the 50s. I forgot. Aren't we in the 70s? I don't remember. I thought we were in the 70s. Weren't we in the 70s? We asked that earlier in the game. I should check. So I take it you were in Mesque's. Actually, the way she pronounced it, was very specific. I don't know how. I forgot how she pronounced it. Mesque is a town, I think, or a city. Let's see. So I take it you were in Mesque when you were young?
Someone was.
The voice actress is literally not saying the words. I understand that it's hard to speak foreign languages, but you should correct yourself. Oh my god. Somewhere was? That's not the same word. Someone was, she says. And she nods as though her meaning were perfectly clear. I suppose I can take it. I can understand. She means herself, and she's not the same person anymore. Let's ask that, though. Someone, are these not your memories?
They are someone's memories, boy. What difference does it make if it's me or not? They are beautiful. That is all that matters, beautiful and true. And they will win. They are coming for this, you know. All of this.
She looks around. All of what? The world? The present? They are beautiful and are coming for all of this. But yeah, I was more concerned about who they are rather than what they're coming for, because they're beautiful and true. Is it the memories that are coming back? She seems to derive some bitter pleasure from this strange thought, as if the past will one day wipe the present away. Yeah, that's sort of what she said, isn't it? Like a tidal wave approaching. Oh, well, I'm sorry to interrupt your dreaming, ma'am.
I wasn't dreaming. I was there, low man. It was early spring, and the man behind the black sun had just come out. The posters were 20 meters tall. Everything was golden.
Her eyes narrow, and she appears to take your measure.
While you people were tearing each other apart over your petty little revolution. In Mezque, it was a golden age.
Mezque. The S is the in Spanish? Huh. It was a golden age there. Right. Well, I have some other questions for you, police questions.
Why not, Jerife? It's not like I have anything better to do in this hellhole.
She settles back against the railing of her motor lorry. Behind her, mountains of memorabilia, photos, and knickknacks line the dashboard. I don't complain. I mention sometimes that H's are hard for me because we don't have any H in our own language, in my own language, in Portuguese. We don't have the sound or anything. Spanish has 3, I think. Spanish people do tend to have. That's not the only language that does that. It comes to mind. Russian comes to mind as well, and of course Arabic as well. Arabic has 4, I think, types of H sounds. And yeah, Spanish people tend to have a very, very peculiar, specific way of pronouncing hellhole, which is very endearing, I would say. But that's for me. I mean, that's endearing to me, I should say. There's something off about this woman. Tell her to show you the soles of her boots. Oh, right, because, wait, I should take the narrator seriously when the narrator says that it's the woman's writing and a woman's boots, even though there's no way for you to know that. Because there is, of course, a way to know that. You wrote the game, so you know. That's the way. So we saw woman's writing. Where did we see that? Specifically, that one I remember, but the boots as well. That's why we're thinking of seeing the boots of her shoes, I suppose, or the soles of her boots, I should say. Maybe she was at the hanging somehow. That is a medium check on our inland empire. Nah, this is weird, because if there's a connection here, I mean, I would love for that to be a connection, but let's see. Show me the soles of your boots. She's gonna think I'm higher than she is. Now what do you want with an old woman's boots? Jerife. Well, it's, please help me out here, it's important. Please? She raises her boots slowly with contempt. I think you should let me get back to the Gabriel Buenguerro. You're no Gabriel. Gabriel doesn't say please. She's wearing sturdy worker's boots made of black leather. Buckles run across the boots. The sole is also made of leather. Now the other one, please. Oh, right, there was one that had some sort of tattoo underneath. Just before Gabriel, it was the coronation of Franco Negro. Now there was a real man. There is no aberration in the pattern that you can see. She puts her foot down. Yeah, the aberration in the pattern. There's no... The pattern of her soul, I should say. Excuse me. I'm assuming her soul has a pattern, because otherwise this wouldn't be written like that. Souls can have no pattern. Well, they wouldn't be work boots if they didn't have a pattern, because they would sleep all over the place. But anyway, moreover, the boots were size 37, tiny. There are too many discrepancies in all this. Yeah, I'll take my visual calculus as a thing. Wait, what do you mean it was the coronation of Franco Negro? It was, she shrugs, and then it was no more. and I was no longer holding my father's hand. He was no longer descending the stairs in Rael. The crowd had gone silent. Perhaps it was another Jerife who came and woke me up, looking at my boots, asking questions? Or perhaps it was one of the others in this carnival. I don't remember. Carnival here, that is not the same as carnival, in English. And it's very difficult for even, just like in a conversation to explain to an American person anyway. I'm speaking of Bumpy McSquigums that I tried to explain what carnival is in European culture. I know the Germans do celebrate it as well. I know the French do that as well, and I'm pretty sure other countries here in Europe do that. Carnival is a celebration. It's basically it's loosely related to carnival, to the word carnival in English. But it's a specific. It's like Halloween, except not for the same. Like it's not the same thematically, and certainly not the same in terms of history. And it's sort of on the other side of the year. It's in February usually, or March at the latest. And it's basically a celebration where people just dress up in costumes, and that's what she's referring to. The others in this carnival, it being in this masquerade, maybe. But of course, because it's not a mistranslation, naturally, it's because it's supposed to be in character, so she would say stuff like that. And also, it's difficult. This is difficult to translate, even if you... I mean, not to translate because it's correctly translated. This is difficult to sort of... For a person who doesn't know what that is, yeah, that's a very cultural thing, I would say. It's sort of interesting because it's I would say all of Europe, maybe not Britain, but yeah, I think even Britain celebrates I say celebrates, but it's not really a celebration. It's not like, I don't know, it's a national holiday for many countries, but anyway, we tend to have more national holidays than the US. I'm not sure about Canada, though. Anyway, yeah, let's see what she says. As she says carnival, she gestures to the empty square with the statue and the machines. She's not odd soul, Kim. These are not the boots that made the prince. Kim takes a quick note. I could have told you that from just looking at them. Her size is 37. The feet of a little girl, says Pale Driver. Wait, that's her name, Pale Driver. I didn't check. I never check the names, because why would I? I'm also reading it out. You don't read the names. She smiles. They fit well on the pedals. Also, I don't know what that is. I need to look into that, because I know, like, I have seen shoes with multiple numbers, and I don't know if this sort of number can be so different. In Portugal, we use a roughly 28 through 46 normal sizes. So a 28 would be like a little kid, and a 37 would be like a grown woman, or a grown man that's short, I suppose. But our women here here in Portugal, because it depends a lot with countries and all this sort of stuff, the average height tends to be 1.60 meters. So if you're a meter, no matter your gender, if you're 1.60 meters, you usually would wear something the size of 37. I'm 1.70 meters, and I wear 41. And I know I have friends that are 1.80 meters that wear 45. And usually, I actually don't know anybody that's taller than 1.80 meters down here in Portugal, because we're all short people. And yeah, that's just how it is. But still, this might be precisely related to the height of the country that, well, I say that, I don't know that it would be, because Spanish people tend to be a little bit taller than Portuguese people, not by much, so it wouldn't make this much of a difference. But of course, Nordic countries, which, did I say Latvia or Estonia or Latonia? I'm sorry, they're all together and I mix them up in my head. I'm so sorry. But the writers are from there, so they are not Nordic countries, so they would be tall and big-feeted. Big-feeted? Big-footed. Yeah, that makes more sense, big-footed. So that they might have just a different numbering scheme. Because I know in Britain they use like 8, 8.5, 9. I think I'm an 8.5 for a 41. So anyway, numbers are weird, and I think in the U.S. they use letters as well. It's not a thing that I think about too much, but it's just a curious thing that might not mean much to you if you don't deal with these numbers. And to me, I deal with these numbers, and it doesn't sound right. Let's see. They fit well on the pedals, which would be for the truck, not of a bicycle or something. Which, for some reason, I associate with a little girl. What are you... No, let's not go there. I still don't really understand this whole Boy Adaro, Gabriel Benguero thing. Of course not. To truly understand the Boy Adaro, you need to listen to On the Western Plain, she says. Okay, what's that? It's an old ballad about a young girl who falls in love with a daring Boy Adaro. He promises... Excuse the hiccups. He promises to marry her as soon as he returns from the Western Plain. I'm guessing that doesn't happen? Of course not! The Boy Adaro returns from the Western Plain a changed man. One night, as he and his beloved are out walking along the River Magritte, she pleads with him to give up his riding and settle down. Oh, Boy Adaro is a cowboy. Such funny words. I believe that might not be... I believe this might not be European Spanish, though. Yeah, boy means cow. Well, actually, it doesn't mean cow. It means bull. Well, it doesn't mean bull. It means the male version of a cow. Because a bull is a toro. Toro? Yeah, there's... Anyway, some things that don't translate immediately. But anyway, it's a cowboy. That's what Boy Adaro is. And the riding here, a cowboy rides a horse, I assume, because of the... what's the word? Ranching? That's not the word. I suppose it might be. The herding. That's the one. She gives up his riding. So he gives up his riding and settles down, right? No! I wanted to go with, of course not. The Boy Adaro strangles his beloved... Oh my god, that escalated quickly. His beloved and throws her body in the Magritte. Then he rides off because the Western Plain is calling to him. Yeah, so he had hallucinations. That's the thing. And yeah, murder ensued. Not solemnly a beautiful song. I didn't even hear the song. Why would I? That's such a weird response. That's a terrible song. I don't know the song either. But that's a terrible thing that happened, I suppose. But that's not where I thought I was going. You have to understand, a true Boy Adaro needs a whole horizon. I'm mixing French as well in here. To himself, he can't be tied down by man or woman. His beloved was selfish. She didn't know what it meant to love a Boy Adaro. Right. She's the one that was selfish. Of course. Of course, that's the moral of the story. What if to truly love a Boy Adaro is to float lifeless downstream? Good call, Inland Empire. That is indeed the moral of the story. You seem like a woman who knows a thing or two about drugs. What do I need drugs for, lawman? What I see, what I feel, the great adversary. No drugs can compare. Where could I get my hands on an experience like that? If you don't know, pfft, she flicks her wrist in a gesture of casual dismissal. Okay. What is it that you're hauling exactly? You're my lawman. She pronounced it lowman before. What of it? My? Oh no. Is she supposed... Is that Brazilian? Boy Adaro. The I wouldn't be there if it's Spanish. She definitely has a Spanish accent, though. She's super... and also, the name is a Spanish name. But that might be Brazilian. Or Portuguese. Brazil. I say Brazilian, but it's not. It's Portuguese. Brazilian Portuguese. And it's not correctly written. Oh, and if it is, and I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure she is she's Brazilian, or of Brazilian descent. And that's that you need a tilde on the I, otherwise that's just my You can't and the tilde turns it into a sound that means mother, and or mum. Portuguese doesn't. Well, it depends on the culture a lot, but in Portuguese the word for mum is not as often used as it is in English. It would be mamá, or mamãe. And in Brazilian it makes a little bit, or in Brazilian Portuguese it makes more sense, because did you hear the mamãe at the end? Mine is what that word is supposed to be. And it's a weird sound because it's got a nasalness to it, so it's mine. You need to give it an N at the end, a sounding N, so it's really weird for languages, people who don't have that in their language. But she is definitely, that is the Spanish accent, that's not Brazilian. Brazilian accents are also very distinct. And Brazilian people tend to have a lot of an easier time speaking English than Spanish people do. What of it, she says. Okay, let me put this another way. Are you smuggling drugs through Terminal B? Her shoulder bones crack as she shrugs. Maybe, she says. Probably not. Makes no difference to me either way. How can you not know what you're hauling if you're in your own lorry? Just this month, I made half a dozen trips from Saramiriza to Grad on the U41A. What do you think they take from Saramiriza to Grad, lawman? I don't know, that's why I'm asking you. It's diamonds, lawman, obviously, she grins. If you had to guess, who do you think is smuggling drugs around here? I wouldn't be able to. The diamonds here, it's impossible to tell what diamonds mean, because diamonds are not a rare thing. They're very historically related to our own culture, because it's basically a sham. It's basically a scam. Yeah, diamonds are an artificial good, in the sense that, it's like you selling copper at a very high price. If you keep all the copper in your pockets and you sell it at a high price and you convince everybody that copper is really expensive, then you can make a buck out of it. That's what they do. They do with diamonds, because they're pretty common. They're super common, in fact. I don't know if it's as common as copper, because copper is relatively common on Earth, but they are very common. The thing is that is related that, like, 100 years ago they weren't expensive. Diamonds weren't well, I say 100 years. I think it was about 100 years ago, back in the 20s, that diamonds started being exploited for. I think that's when they were found, in fact. The first real big mine of diamonds. And I think the biggest as well. Before that, of course, the rarity meant what was a different thing. Well, yeah, I guess the price of things, and jewels in particular, it's all about how rare it is. Because that's how jewels are. The first jewels were made out of steel, because steel was rare, steel was difficult to make. So you had steel jewels. It's the first instances of archaeological artifacts made out of steel are basically jewels. They're rings and they're like little baubles, because the smiths would find the steel in their iron and they'd be like, whoa, what the heck is this? I can make this super tough. Look at this. And they would just make jewels out of it, because that's how jewels work. That's the role of jewels. It's to keep something rare and precious. Anyway, she says, easy, it's the skinny man who thinks he's a poet. Never trust a poet. She squints across the square. Also, he's the only one I can see from here. That's correct. There's no visibility of any of the others. She would know they are there, though. Yeah, I didn't ask about the diamonds, did I? I don't... Yeah, let's go with that. I think it's going to be fine if I ask this. I don't care about that. And she says, diamonds are good for you, lawman. You should try them sometime. Make yourself pretty like Eva des Horas. Yeah, those are Spanish names. I mean, I considering all the things, all the, not anachronisms, but sort of peculiarities of the writing, mixing up Spanish with Portuguese is probably the least of the cultural peculiarities that we see in the writing, because it's very... There's a lot of things that are like the centigrade thing. That sticks with me more than anything else. But yeah, that's not a Portuguese name. I mean, Portuguese or Brazilian people, Portuguese-speaking people might have that name. There's some of that, but anyway. If you're not involved with the drug trafficking, then why are you still waiting here? I'm gonna ask. And she says, where do you want me to go? This isn't so bad. I can listen to music, the seagulls, maybe all the colors and the features of this world. It's a good palate cleanser, like Jamboree. Or I can just relax and let my mind carry me back where it will, to the Great Plains. I think we're done here, no? Says Kim. He closes his notebook. We are. Thank you for now. Yes, go. Enough Jamboree. I need to get back to Methke. Her voice trails off. Huh. Yeah. We're done here, because we're out of time for the day, but that was an interesting thing. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. That's not how my outro goes. I'm Colonel RPG, that's how my outro goes, and this has been Disco Elysium. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to leave a comment and a like if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. And again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.